welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Very, very grateful to have you here. How's your day been so far?
It's been okay. It's been okay. It's been busy. Done a lot of driving and yeah, a lot of traffic. But we're here.
We're here, we're thriving, we're working through, and we're here to talk about your brand new album, Ultraviolet, coming out on the 16th of October. So give us a little bit of a tease. What can we expect from this album?
It's, in my humble opinion, the most authentic version of myself that I've ever been able to present. I spent the last few years away kind of figuring things out. I think because I started so young in the music industry, I think sometimes you can not quite have the opportunity to kind of figure yourself out.
No, I totally get that, yeah.
And I think when you've got like record labels, managers and things like that being like, oh, we want you to be a little bit more like this, a little bit more like this, you can lose yourself. So I went away and I was like, who am I? Which is like a really strange question to ask yourself for like 28. But yeah, so I kind of just figured it out, I guess. And I think this is, I almost want to say like a reintroduction, but it's not in a strange way. It's like a complete introduction to me, which is cool.
So you're independent now, aren't you?
Yeah.
How freeing is that?
Oh, it's wonderful. It's really good. It's a big change. There's a lot more work to do, but you can control it. And I'm very fortunate. The management team that I work with, it's all very new, but they're incredible, and I can't say enough good things about them. They're just amazing people, and they work so hard, and they've been so kind of happy to take things on. And it's just nice not having people in a boardroom discussing your career on your behalf, in amongst discussing the careers of 30 other people in the same meeting. So I now can control my own destination, and I can figure out what makes me comfortable and what actually makes me uncomfortable. And I think having that control has allowed me to put in boundaries, which has been really healthy. And I think I'm better off for it.
Oh, that's really good to hear, though. So we look back to sort of previously your first album, Unfinished Business, one of our favourites, to be honest with you.
Thank you.
I love the jazz influence behind it. I thought it was very jazzy and stuff like that. Did we have, obviously you talk about reinventing yourself and finding your sound. How did you find that first sound, sort of going away from this sort of boy band machine to this sort of jazz solo album? How difficult did you find that?
Well, before I joined the band, I essentially just wanted to be Jamie Cullum, because Jamie Cullum's amazing. So that was what I was listening to. I was listening to a lot of like Frank Sinatra, Bobby Darin, and like Stevie Wonder, Donny Hathaway. So I was surrounded by those sounds, and I had a couple of opportunities to be a soloist at 16, and it was a bit of a weird day, if I'm honest. I started the day with no record deals on the table, but I think by the end of it I had 4. And then I'd always said I never want to be in a boy band. Yeah. And I ended up choosing the boy band, and I was like, I've got literally solo deals. They're saying you can do whatever jazz album you want, we'll fully support it. And my gut just told me to go with a band. So I was kind of going back to my roots a little bit with that choice. But I think at the same time, I was so determined to prove to everyone that I could sing. I was like, listen to me sing this note and this really obnoxious ad-lib and this really obnoxious ad-lib. And listening back, I'm like, oh my God, you were trying so hard to be like, look, I can sing. Yeah. And I think the difference between that album and this album is that the vocal choices are very different. So they're a lot more natural, I think, and there's a lot of textures, and the storytelling the importance of storytelling has been dialed up. which maybe as a 21-year-old I wasn't giving the same respect to, because I was just like, listen to me do this now. But now there's a bit more kind of honing of who I am as an artist, I guess.
Did you feel like you had to sort of prove yourself? Because obviously you were so young. If we think about it, 21, that's still really young.
Yeah.
And did you think coming off of this big success, you had to maybe prove yourself with the solo album? You talk about like, I can sing, I can definitely sing. Yeah. It's almost a lot of pressure.
Massively.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people were like, oh yeah, whatever, he's like the young one. And I was told that so many times growing up, and being told like, oh, shut up, you're so young, you don't have an opinion. It was quite a lot, so my confidence was quite low, and I think people would look at me from the outside of the band and be like, oh, he's really confident, verging on a bit cocky, or a bit overconfident, should we say? And that actually wasn't the case. It was more of a front because I was so unconfident. I think that kind of desperation to prove myself kind of stemmed from that place. But it's nice to kind of look back, and I think especially with like the shows that I'm doing, revisiting some of those songs and being like, right, how would I sing that now? Now I know who I am as an artist. How am I going to vocal that? So that's been a really interesting journey, spending time with those records and having a new approach to them.
Yeah, definitely.
You touched on vocals and in particular adlibs.
Yeah.
What is your favourite adlib that you've done in your solo work?
Sorry, I'm literally like speeding through.
I was going to say it's a big question, so take your time, all the time you need.
There's actually one that didn't make the album because Toby, who produced the album, was being a sportsbot, and I was like, I can just hear it, and it's definitely going to be in the live version, but it was a run all the way up an octave, and it was just so smooth, and it was at the right place, and I was like, oh yeah, this is really, really pleasing, but it distracted too much from like the intimate like setting that we were trying to create, but there's some really fun ad-libs, and I think especially on this record there's some hidden ad-libs as well, so I think the more you listen to the record, you kind of like pick out things, be like, oh, okay, all right, there he is, okay. Yeah, and like I think that's a change as well from like the first album, is that the ad-libs were like front and center, whereas now they're different. We were kind of changing the keys, and like we'd like pitch the track down 5 semitones, and then do the full ad-lib take, and then pitch it back up, and things like that. So we're being a little bit more experimental with the vocal production. But then also that slows down the track, so you can do more and pull the track around, which I think was a lot of fun. I'd say that's my favourite. There's some really fun little bits on. Oh, there's a great little run at the end of Fake It, which is like halfway through the album. It kind of signals the mood change on the album, because the first half of Ultraviolet is quite happy and uplifting, and then the second half is not. But Fake It signifies that change, and then at the end there's like a string like outro, and there's like a load of like head voice ad-libby stuff, and that's really cool. And it was like a one take and done. I just did it, and the guys were like, okay, and I was like.
It's like, guys, I'm just that good.
They were like, can you do that again? I was like, I've already forgotten it.
It's one of those like heat of the moment sort of, you've done it and it's just a sort of situation.
Yeah, and like I really enjoyed doing like the ad-lib stuff, because like some of the ones, like the one on Beautiful where I run up the octave, like you can, like I heard that and I was like, I want to get this in, so I went to specifically do it. But a lot of them they're just done kind of in the moment, and I'll do one take, and that'll be that really. So like, Guess I Was Right, that all the ad-libs on that track are just a one take, and we pressed play at the start and then stopped at the end. Naturally, that's what you do. And yeah, that was the whole ad-lib take, and you can hear like someone shouting in the background at the end of Guess I Was Right, and that's actually the producer. He was like, woo! But I left that in because I was like, that's really fun. But you could actually hear it. He was so loud you could hear it in the vocal booth.
Must have liked it. It must have really been on board.
It did. He was like, I can't believe you've just done all of that in one take, and I'm literally not going to take anything out. I was like, yeah, just turn it on. Mic's on. Let's go.
Mic's on. I'm ready. Let's get going.
Yeah,
Sort of
I'm
situation.
not messing about. I've got a train to catch.
Fair enough. So you mentioned sort of touring before, and you're coming just up the road from us. You're going to Deaf Institute in Manchester, which is a lovely little venue. Yeah. Sort of the Mancunian crowd. We're very vibrant, very energetic. Yeah. Speaking myself, what are you excited for them to get out of this tour, for them to see from this tour?
Well, they're going to hear the full album for the first time, which is really exciting. I think it's fun for me because it's the readjustment of me as an artist and finding where I want to sit. And I think in the band I'd maybe over-compromise for some people maybe not feeling as confident on stage and things. So I would kind of go the other way, and I'd be an absolute menace if I'm completely honest. And it was maybe a tiny bit insufferable at times. And yeah, I used to just have fun because there was space, like while someone else is singing and things like that. You can just do whatever you want, I guess. But now it's kind of figuring out kind of who you want to present, and I've got to the point where I just want to present me. And there's always been a massive gap between me as a performer and me off stage. And people always say, like, I can't believe that's the same person. That they're like, because you're so like quiet and a bit geeky off stage, but and like on stage you're a horror. So I'm trying to close that gap a little bit, and I want to be a lot more like the offstage Nathan, but still entertaining, I guess. So that's that. I think it's going to be a really lovely moment. I love talking to people during the show. It just makes me really happy, because you can't do that at the kind of the crazy big venues, because people just get confused. They're like, who's he speaking to? Just
who's
like,
speaking to? This little ant
get
that's
the binoculars
out.
out. But obviously, like when you're playing amazing venues like the Deaf Institute, everyone knows who you're chatting to, and they can hear what they're saying back, and it's such an honest crowd. So you know if you're not doing a good gig, because it'll be flat a little bit, and then you'll be like, right, okay, I need to work in the moment. I need to switch it up, but let's change this about. So it really develops you as an artist, super speed, and that's what makes me love my job. So that's that's going to be the show, I guess.
Fantastic, that's basically it.
Yeah, not me figuring it out as I go along.
Yeah, I completely get what you're saying. You're sort of playing off of that crowd from that evening, because this crowd could be different to Birmingham, etc. Like another city sort of thing. Yeah, and also like vocally, I go on stage, I don't have a clue what I'm going to do. I just make it up. So like I'll obviously like stick to the songs, but in terms of like ad-libs and all that sort of stuff, I'm like, yeah, all bets are off. Let's just, like the end of Famous, a song off the first album, that's like the live version's really fun, and I don't map any of the vocals. I just enjoy very much what I do in the moment, and that's a challenge. But it's like it keeps you on your toes. It's like sport at like the highest level for me. I like literally getting the tingles thinking about it. It's fun. Sorry. No, it's so nice to hear you. No, you know what? We appreciate geeks. We're geeks. We're doing radio and TV. We're getting it. Like we get the feelings, but it's also so nice to hear you speak so passionately about music. Like that's what we're here for at the end of the day. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I feel very seen.
You talk about sort of your solo tour, and obviously you were on tour with the band in 2022.
Yeah.
I was there.
Oh, thank you.
How do you think you're going to have to readapt to performing solo? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's an adaptation that you make when you're in a band, because you have to bear everyone else in mind. You kind of pick up where some people feel quieter, and then some people are maybe having not on like a quieter day, or they're, especially with that tour in 22, because of like the emotional weight that was attached to the tour. I think we kind of had to very much work together and bear each other in mind. But I think as a soloist, if you're kind of feeling a certain type of way during the show, or sing a track that it's really emotional, you've got to navigate your way through that, and that's a challenge, but one that's really fun. The thing that I struggle with, you wouldn't believe I've just rambled on for ages, but is talking. So obviously when you're in a band, you normally have, even if you have 10 moments during the whole show that you talk, you'll only be doing 2 of them. But as a soloist, you're doing all of them. And finding things to say, and we did a show back in March, and I listened back to the audio afterwards, and I just repeat myself every single time. I'm like, oh, thanks for coming. This is a song off the new album, and I'm like, all right, mate, all right, mix it up. So like finding different things to talk about is a really difficult thing to do. So that's the bit that I maybe need to adapt to more.
Yeah.
Because the music stuff's fine. You just have to take care of your voice a little bit more, because obviously you're singing more. Whereas obviously with the band, you're singing like a verse here, a chorus there, and things like that. So there's a lot more breaks to kind of keep your vocal health kind of doing its thing. Whereas as a soloist, your technique and all that sort of stuff, without kind of going into like a vocal spiel, like it's a lot more important. Yeah.
You talk about that adaptation sort of with the balance of mix between your authentic self and, say, your stage persona. Has there ever been a point where you think this is getting too far, or something where you thought you weren't being authentically yourself that has changed in the last couple of years since going solo?
That was a really interesting question. Maybe. I think towards the end of the band, the first time round when I was like 21, I think because there was an immense amount of stress, to the point where we all found it really challenging, and it was kind of all of us against the label and management, but at the same time, kind of because we were all so stressed, we kind of not took it out on each other, but we maybe didn't communicate as well as we could have done. But that happens. You're young guys, and you're just kind of, or young people, and just kind of figuring it out and trying to navigate the moment that you're in. And yeah, maybe I on reflection, maybe wound people up a little bit more than, and that's probably the kind of the stage version of me kind of coming into play kind of outside. But also I think as a defense mechanism and things like that, trying to protect myself. So you put a version on, and the natural version you put on is your stage version. So it's, that's kind of a challenge, but I think the challenge for me now as a soloist is to bridge the gap between like a performance Nathan and Nathan who's sat having a coffee. Because that's what I want to achieve. I want to be a completely open book, and I want to share as much as people are hoping to listen to, and I want to really realise the ambition of being completely authentically myself. And that's I think it's a process, and it takes some time to kind of trust that. You're like, oh, am I sharing too much? Am I making people uncomfortable because I'm being a bit too open? But you know, you want to be yourself. You want to be relaxed. You want to be an open book. And I think if you never know when your last album's going to be. So if this is my last album, I hope it isn't. But you never know. You never know. You never know when your last show is going to be. Like you just, the industry is weird. But at the start of writing this album, I was like, if this is the last album I ever make, what do I want it to sound like? And I think we achieved that with Ultraviolet. And I think now presenting the album and talking about the album, that's the same in terms of me. If this is the last time that I ever get to promote an album, how do I want to promote it? And they're questions that kind of live with me every day. And yeah, it's nice kind of being honest. It's great.
It's a lot on the mind though, it's sort of saying like, how would I want to promote something or anything like that. But I think it's very honest and open, which is what you said, described yourself you want to be. So
try and be.
It's all we can do. It's all we can try to do, really.
Yeah.
I think we've got one final question. It's a little bit of a game.
Okay.
To sort of bring the mood up a little bit. So we've got five songs written down, some of our favourite songs, and we're going to get you to list them 1 to 5.
Okay.
The catch is you don't know what is the next song.
Great.
So
and once you've stuck a song in a position, you can't move it.
Right. Okay.
Just to make it a little bit more difficult for you.
Right. Okay.
Okay, we're going to start with "There's Only One of You" from your first album.
Right. Are these songs that I've been part of, or these like
They're your
solo
songs?
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. "There's Only One of You." Great song.
It's pressure.
It is. It's hard. 4.
Okay.
Interesting. "Kiss Me Quick."
5.
Oh. Further down the way, that's fine.
But live, that's like
Yeah.
that's like a
There's energy, isn't it?
Yeah.
2. Because that's so fun to do live, and we go like jazzy with it live, and we're kind of like, we're having a load of fun with that live. So, but like the original, sorry, I'm going off the game.
No, it's okay.
the original, like at the start, it's like really kind of, it's a little bit obnoxious with all the brass, which I love. Do you know what I mean? But then it's like the vocal, like, is this what you wanted? That was like a message to the label. They were like, just give us a hit. And I was like, is this what you wanted? Yes.
I've always wondered what that little ad-lib was, because obviously I listened to it a couple of times and I thought that was it, but obviously you never know when you listen to a song what it translates as. So
so that's 5.
That's perfect. We'll go on to your next one, which is one of my personal favourites, which is "Money."
Oh, 6.
6? What's wrong with money? Do you really hate money?
I wish the drop was different.
Okay, that makes sense.
I wish the drop was different. I wish we went like full on big band with it, but it was. I think we were bearing in mind like radio play and things like that, and I was like, I wanted that to be a big swing track.
That's how I imagine it, though. I imagine it, you're playing it in a jazz club, you're up there with the big swing mic, like you're on the stage. That's how I imagine it, to be honest with you. So
okay.
You got through to someone, but...
Thank you. You saw the vision.
I saw the vision, just not the execution, sadly.
Famous.
Famous is a... Am I allowed to keep money at 6?
Pop
Not
money.
really.
I'm gonna say pop money either 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Because you can't change.
3.
Okay, 3.
Okay.
Famous is 2.
Famous is 2.
Ooh, okay.
And then your last one, which you're probably glad you left the top spot for, is Butterflies
1.
at number 1.
Yeah.
It's a really good
And
all-round one.
I really stand by that as well. And like I'm so proud of Butterflies. It's I need to start saying butterflies, because butterflies.
No, trust me, down
We
here,
said that as well,
we've been saying that the whole time, don't worry.
So Butterflies. I'm really proud of it, and I loved the writing of it as well. That was like a really like special moment. Famous took quite a while to write, but Butterflies, like it came together after like a really like quite tough day of us being like, no, that's rubbish, that's
Yeah.
rubbish. And then Dave, who I write with, he sat at the piano, and then it just flew together. And the verses are just kind of like one takes of like just putting like the track that we created, like the chords, and me just over the top doing all the melodies, and that's kind of why it's so kind of all over the place, but it's meant to feel like carefree, which I think it does. So yeah, Butterfly's number one.
Fantastic. That's pretty much just finished off. Thank you very much, One Hit Wonder. No, it was fake. Well, it's supposed to be One Take Wonder. Sorry, I said One Hit Wonder. Ignore me.
One Hit Wonder.
Very, very sorry. I was not meant to say that. one Take Wonder, Nathan Sykes. I am so sorry.
That's the best thing that's ever happened.